Hello and welcome to Atlanta News First Plus. I am First Alert Meteorologist Cutter Martin here with a check and extended stream of the First Alert forecast. And much like yesterday at this time, we have a lot of weather to talk about. Rain, wind, cold, all a guarantee. The possibility is snow and ice, and that is more so for the late week portion of the forecast, though. Truth be told, could even be a few snow flurries blowing around in that really cold wind we have in the forecast for tomorrow. And of course, weather has already gone downhill a bit across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. First Alert radar is already lit up with quite a bit of rain. So we're going to walk you hour by hour, let you know where it's raining now, but also a closer look at where rain is forecast to be as we go deeper into the evening hours. Again, we have a big batch of steady rain right now moving to the city of Atlanta. So again, I'm First Alert Meteorologist Cutter Martin, digital team working to make sure everyone has the opportunity to catch this stream. You may have been brought here or will be brought here by a buzz in the Atlanta News First app, letting you know that we are live and talking about the weather. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you want to talk about the weather, two-way street here, get some clarification on an otherwise pretty complicated forecast, you can do so by texting us. In fact, I can bring that up before we dive into the First Alert forecast. Number is 470-777-9263. That is 470-777-WANF. Heavy rain and gusty winds are possible tonight. And then the story becomes much colder weather in the First Alert forecast. So just keep that in mind. We do have rain and wind tonight, and then something much colder and much more wintry feeling as we get into the day Monday. I mean, a complete 180 in the forecast from today to tomorrow. I know it is chilly today, but certainly the forecast trends much, much colder as we get into the day tomorrow. And then we're going to be watching for that possibility of some maybe snow flurries in the forecast. All right, let's get to it right now. First Alert radar, it is pretty damp out there already, and now we have steady rain building back into the city of Atlanta. We can bring it down a little bit closer in here, right down to the street level, really inside the perimeter, just drizzle, but kind of marked right along the edge of the perimeter. It's not often this happens, but literally you can see the edge of the steadier rain right along the west wall and the south end of the perimeter. Just coincidence right there, but this is quickly moving off to the north and to the northeast. It is raining steadily in Union City. It is raining steadily in the city of South Fulton. It is raining steadily in Palmetto, up to Douglasville and Douglas County, West Cobb, Paulding County, Dallas. Polk County has seen a little bit of rain this morning as well into the afternoon. Carroll County, it's been raining. Troup and Heard counties, it has been raining steadily. And look at all of this moisture, kind of like a fire hose aimed right at the city of Atlanta. So if you have dinner plans tonight, if you have any late afternoon errands, it's Sunday, grocery store trip day for so many, though many going earlier in the day. But if you have errands yet to have been completed, it is going to be pretty damp out there through the rest of the evening. In fact, we're going to be tracking not only light rain, but some steady rain, puddle-making showers, along with the chilly temperatures across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. Speaking of temperatures, we are actually warmer now than we have been all day. City of Atlanta is at 50. We briefly were up in the low to mid 50s, so should clarify there with rain now. The onset of rain, temperatures have cooled a few degrees. However, as we go through the night, as winds start to increase, and we do have a wind advisory in effect now just issued by the National Weather Service, we will see temperatures actually warm up overnight tonight into the wee hours of tomorrow morning, kind of another symptom, so to speak, of that storm system approaching from the west. So temperatures will warm up tonight before they absolutely plunge through the day tomorrow. Here is that wind advisory, latest from the National Weather Service office in Peachtree City. That is in effect until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Again, today is a First Alert weather day. Right now we have the wet conditions kind of interrupting some of those evening plans. And then as we go into tonight, heavy rain and some windy weather is on the way in the First Alert forecast. So something to keep an eye on. Rain and wind could easily wake you up overnight tonight. So we just want to give you that First Alert, let you know it's going to be kind of a noisy night with both the wind and a burst of heavy rain moving through the area. In winds, I know this says it's in effect until 10 a.m. I would not be surprised if they extended this tomorrow. This is more so with the line of rain tonight, but even after the rain moves out, winds are going to howl tomorrow as temperatures plummet. Of course, those gusty winds making it feel even colder. All right, now let's walk you through that hour-by-hour forecast. Forecast model doing a decent job with the amount of rain we're seeing, though we're actually seeing a little more than what this particular run This particular forecast model is indicating or showing. So again, this is just one tool in our tool belt that the First Alert Weather Team has. We don't just deliver the forecast or issue the forecast and develop that forecast based on one run of one model. We put everything together, and that's why your rain chance is a little higher than what you may think with this kind of an image, 50 to 60% this evening, because lo and behold, it's a little bit wetter out there than what this forecast model is saying, but it has the right idea. Scattered rain developing, damp evening for any dinner plans, any errands you have, any maybe church services you have this evening, whatever it is, no matter where it is, pretty much everybody's going to at least see a little bit of rain with temperatures hovering in the upper 40s to near 50. 10 o'clock tonight might have a little bit of a break. Temperatures, again, still upper 40s and lower 50s, not cooling much through the evening hours. And here comes that line of heavy rain and some gusty winds, making its approach to our far western viewing area, Cleveland and Randolph counties in Alabama by about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Winds will pick up as this line approaches, could get very gusty as this line of heavy rain moves through. Maybe a temporary drop in that wind speed before they kick right back up as rain moves out. Again, going deeper into our Monday, here we are 3, 4, 5 a.m. Heavy rain right over the I-85 corridor, right over the city of Atlanta. Timing here, I would say, of the worst weather in Atlanta proper, probably between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. Quick burst of heavy rain, not the light rain that we're seeing now, but heavy rain. There'll be some rumbles of thunder and gusty winds. Now, the risk of severe weather is very, very low. We're not forecasting any organized severe weather. The ingredients just not really there for any legitimate risk of, tornadoes or anything like that. However, winds will be gusty even ahead of the rain, and they could be especially gusty with a few of these downpours pushing through North Georgia and metro Atlanta early tomorrow morning. Between 5 and 7 a.m., heaviest of the rain shifts off to the east, Covington towards Athens. So 6, 7 a.m., you're getting up, you're getting out the door. Heavy rain, gusty winds, probably at their worst around that time in Athens and Covington, down to Eatonton, Putnam County, Lake Sinclair and Oconee area, probably worse 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Watch what happens with temperatures. Again, I have this paused at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Notice Covington is in the mid-50s, Atlanta's in the lower 50s, and then Calhoun is in the mid-40s. So there's a range in temperatures about 10 degrees or so from Covington to Calhoun. It's a decent, difference, but that's not too unusual for a little front moving through. But watch what happens as we go through the morning hours. 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, temperatures continue to tumble. Calhoun is back into the 30s by that point. So even though the sun has been up, it's colder at 10 a.m. than it was at 7 a.m. in Calhoun. And in Atlanta, it's about 10 degrees colder at 10 a.m. than it was at 7 a.m. with temperatures back in the lower 40s, winds really cranking by this point. Here we are at noon, so lunchtime tomorrow, we are 39 in Atlanta with lots of clouds, howling winds, and you see the white there. Could easily be some snow flurries, and I think more legitimate snow showers up in the mountains, highest of elevation, especially above 2,000 feet or so. Could be some snow showers up there for the city of Atlanta, for the metro. I would not be surprised if you just happen to, look up, running errands, look out the office window, and see a few snow flurries blowing around in tomorrow's gusty winds. Will not accumulate. Nothing like that, no travel impact, nothing like that across metro Atlanta. But nonetheless, you may look outside and see some of those snow flurries blowing around in a gusty wind as temperatures really begin to drop. Going a little bit further into time, here we are for 5 p.m., leaving the office, trying to head home. 5 p.m., we're already in the upper 20s in Blairsville. We're down to 34 in Atlanta, 33 Calhoun. We are already at freezing in Carrollton. That's technically before sunset, with still a few flurries possibly blowing around. Upper 30s in Thomaston, even Athens by that point down to 39. So we are going to begin our Monday, early Monday morning, before sunrise, in the 50s in Atlanta. By the time we are headed home, I think tomorrow is the first day back to school for many school districts across the metro. By the time your kiddos are headed home, by the time you're picking them up from their sports practices, whatever it may be, 4 or 5 o'clock, it is going to be very, very cold. Tomorrow will be a day to send them with all the winter gear, even if it doesn't feel all that cold out the door in the morning. So like a really tricky temperature forecast tomorrow, and one that's going to, I think, inevitably going to surprise some folks. Now, as we go deeper into the evening, of course, maybe a few snow showers in the mountains, that risk of flurries really dying out across metro Atlanta. We wake up to a widespread hard freeze on our Tuesday morning. Temperatures in the low to mid-20s with a breeze, wind chills in the single digits mountains. I would say low to mid-teens elsewhere. A frigid start to our Tuesday. Jesus Ramirez, and do you think we might get some snow here in Cobb County, Marietta? Jesus, I think you were tweeting me earlier, and nothing really has changed since we chatted earlier this afternoon. You could see a couple snow flurries blowing around tomorrow. The greater risk of winter weather, travel impacts, ice and snow. Again, just a chance or a risk, not a certainty at this point, Jesus, but that is Friday into Saturday. So a few snow flurries, you may see them flying around in the breeze tomorrow, barely be able to see them, not an impact or anything like that. But as we get into Friday and Saturday, so about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 5 to 6 days from now, that's when the potential for something more significant and wintry arrives in the first alert forecast. And on that note, Jesus, here is the setup. First alert 7-day forecast. Again, this is new forecast, new data coming in. Temperature tomorrow, that 37. That's kind of an average in the afternoon, but temperatures will almost hour by hour continuously drop tomorrow afternoon. So that 37 might be more like 2, 3 p.m. versus 4, 5 p.m. 42, sunshine, first alert weather day Tuesday, first hard freeze, and the first day where you need to make sure that your home is winterized, ready to go. Probably already is at this point in the season. But our first day of very similar conditions, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then that is the Friday, Saturday that we need you to keep an eye on. Jesus Ramirez up in Cobb County, Marietta. Tricky forecast, all dependent on a track of a storm system that is still days away. Sandra Muhammad saying, winterize home Monday night to prevent freezing pipes, etc. Yes, though I would suggest if you can do that today or early tomorrow to do that, Sandra. I apologize if I mispronounce your name, because if you wait until tomorrow evening to do that, you're going to be absolutely miserable out there in the cold and the wind. Now, what I will say is we've already had a hard freeze in the city of Atlanta this season. If you made it through that without any frozen pipe issues and stuff like that, it should be just fine. But we're going to have several nights with temperatures in the low to mid-20s, so a good idea if the pipes are not wrapped and they're outside and they're exposed, go ahead and do that. But the earlier you go, and do that, the more comfortable you will be while doing so. I know, looking out the Atlanta News First window right now, still just some sprinkles, it looks like. Can't really see any wet pavement at the moment, but we do at this moment have rain moving in. So you're going to be doing it in the rain now, but if you wait until tomorrow afternoon and evening, it's going to be very, very cold, very, very windy. Ghost on the beat, that's the avatar, excuse me, chatting with on YouTube. I saw GFS models forecasting snow for January 10th. Is that something that's more likely with the latest data? Very good question. So again, we are watching, of course, the 6th is tomorrow, Tuesday is the 7th, Wednesday is the 8th, Thursday is the 9th, and yes, Friday is the 10th. That signal has been there for a while now, but we've seen very inconsistent signals with the models, including the GFS, not the only one that's had trouble resolving this, though, and there is still some inconsistency with the specifics. But to what you are asking about, here's the layout. Again, regardless of what computer models are saying, there are many things, not just the computer models, the computers, but just pattern recognition. This is a pretty favorable pattern that we have setting up to get winter weather somewhere in the mid-south, the southeast, the east coast. And that signal is still there. What we don't know are these specific details. We are in the range to realize that this is a legitimate possibility, but as far as what your neighborhood sees and how much of an impact it is to your Friday and Saturday, still very uncertain. Ice and snow, certainly a possibility. Cold is a certain part, and this storm system likely is going to be working with some moisture. So yeah, I would say there will be wintry weather, a wintry mix, ice, snow across North Georgia, but determining which neighborhoods see what, still a little bit too early on in that forecast. Ghost on the beat, I guess it depends on the placement of that low. So higher low, less snow, and more rain. So if you're talking about the track, so what you're saying there, in fact, I can put a pause point in here. We can draw what we're talking about here. So what you're asking is if this low were to move more like this versus like this, would we see less wintry weather? And the answer is yes. The further north this low tracks in general, we would see less of a risk of wintry weather. We'd probably see a little bit warmer air surge north of it. However, even in that scenario, we could see winter weather on the backside. We would just have a little bit less of it. But if this takes a sweet spot, further south and cold air has the ability to remain locked in place, then yeah, that's a general trend we're watching. But if you're right underneath this low as well, you could still have wintry weather. The bigger, If this low were to track north of us, like not even over us, but actually north of North Georgia, it would be harder to get wintry weather this far south. So that's going to be something we're watching out for. Track is so important here with determining what we see locally and how much of what we see. Let's see. Snow again in Atlanta. The chance of winter weather is there, but it is far too soon to say what we see and how much we see. All that we're doing is kind of flagging Friday, Saturday, in this case, as days that have the potential to include some wintry weather, including snow and ice. Now, as far as amounts and how much we see, that's still very TBD. I think we'll start to have a better idea by Tuesday and have a much better idea with what to expect by Wednesday evening, Wednesday night-ish time frame, looking ahead to Friday, later day into Saturday. So within about 48, 60 hours out from the event, beginning midday Saturday or midday Friday or so, that's when we'll start to have a better idea as to what to expect specifically for North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. So back to that First Alert 7-day forecast, we have 2 periods to watch, today through Tuesday morning. Scattered rain now, lots of wind and rain tonight, lots of wind and cold tomorrow. Could be a few snow flurries. And then the cold really settles in, hard freeze Tuesday morning. And then we kick off a really cold stretch of days, Wednesday into Thursday. Saying, okay, thanks, man, weather's quite unpredictable. Haha, hoping to see at least some snowflakes in Woodstock. The further north you are, the better bet you have, as it looks right now. So it's certainly something to keep an eye on. I'm not banking on, you seeing accumulating snow just yet, but the signal is there, and certainly for this winter, and over the past couple of winters, I would say that this is one of the better chances we have had. Though, as you know, the past couple of winters, several winters, we really haven't had much, so that's not saying all that much, but it does look like that this setup is one that is a little bit more likely to produce some sort of winter weather event, and maybe a couple different ones, not necessarily for Atlanta, but for the southeast, for the region. As we get into the next 7-10 days, maybe even a little bit longer than that, we're going to be watching this pattern continue to evolve and develop. Doesn't look like we have any other questions coming in. Want to thank you for joining this 5 p.m. stream on Atlanta News First Plus. Also want to remind you we have a newscast that will be streaming, a little bit different tonight. We'll be streaming. I mean, technically they're always streaming, but if you turn on Atlanta News First, you probably won't see it on WANF. But if you stream Atlanta News First Plus, whether it be at atlantanewsfirst.com in the First Alert weather app, in the Atlanta News First app, Roku, Fire Stick, any of those places, we will have a newscast tonight going into detail with, by then, we've even started to get some new data in over the past 20 minutes since this stream began. By then, we will have even more to chat about, to talk about tracking this evening's rain, blast of wind and rain tonight, the cold, the risk of flurries tomorrow, and then what could be the more impactful winter weather event that is Friday into Saturday. So again, going to leave you with a kind of gloomy look at downtown Atlanta. First alert weather days on the way. 2 storm systems set to impact North Georgia this week. Full forecast, hour by hour, and another deep dive into that Friday, Saturday system coming up on Atlanta News First at 6:30. We will be streaming on ANF+.